Hi guys, welcome back to our channel Leela Web Dev. In our last video, we have learned about the TCP, right? So we have learned about the TCP. There is nothing but TCP and also the UDP we haven't learned up to now. So just we have explored about the TCP and UDP and the basics of the transport layer. So we have learned about the transport layer also. That is nothing but that is one of the layer in the OSM model. So today we are diving into another concept in the layer 4. That is nothing but, so we are learning about the transport layer only in the layer 4. So I told you, right? So it will pass some headers. That is nothing but source port number and also the destination port number. Like this, I told you some concepts. So in the same scenario, and here you will be having the sequence number. So it will send you these all the things, sequence number, and the other one you will send it is the checksum. Okay, checksum, it will transfer the checksum. So like these details it will transfer. So another one is the window size, and the last one will be the data. So like this we will be having. So here we learned about the source port. So now you may be having a doubt that what is this port number and all those things. So normally when you are coming from the developer background or something like that, you know the port number. But for the beginners, just I want to tell about this port number thing. So normally port numbers, what are those things are like addresses that connect to the transport layer to the application layer. So at the top of this transport layer, you will be having an application layer. So this is the where we will be writing the code, right? So application layer means nothing but our app, where our app resides in. So now this transport layer will be connected to the application layer using this port number only. This tells your computer which application should handle incoming or the outgoing data. So this transport layer port number only will try to tell you which application should handle the incoming or outgoing data. Think of them as apartment number in a building. The IP address get you the building and the port number will get you the right apartment. So that is the best example which I can tell you. To understand port numbers, so now you understand about this port number. So port number means exact place which application do you want use it. So transport layer means normally it will come here with the port number, and now the transport layer will decide to which application using the port number it needs to react it. So fine. So now how many port numbers are there? So you can go on give the port numbers like 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this we can go on give how many port numbers the system will be supported. So let's try to see it. So now when you try to open the Chrome here, I will open the browser. Let me open the browser for the time's sake. Yeah, I will be trying to open here. Now here when you try to open the Chrome, so you can have when you search for the INAA port numbers. Okay, so this is the website which I want to tell you, which I want you to search. And here if I click on this one, so here you will be able to see. So this is the data which you are able to see. Service name and transport port number registry. So this is the website which will port number. These are that is the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. So now the first link will take you to their official site. So we have seen it, where you will find everything about the port ranges and assignments. Let's check it out. So here you will be able to see the port numbers. Yeah, here the port numbers are assigned in various ways based on 3 ranges. So one is 0 to 1023 are called as system ports, and the user ports are 1024 to 49151. Okay. And another one is what is it you are saying? Yeah, or dynamic or the private ports 49152 to 65535. So here the system ports 0 to 1023 reserved for the system processes like HTTP, port 80, SSH on port 22. So you need admin privileges like sudo on Linux to use this. Next one is the user ports 1024 to 49151, safe for your applications like Node.js app and all those things. And next one is the dynamic IPs or the private IPs 49152 to 65535. Used for temporary or private connections for your apps. Stick to user ports to avoid conflicts. So always stick to the user ports. That is nothing but 1024 to 49151. Normally some ports are famous. For example, if you try to see here at the bottom, some ports are famous like port 80. So if you try to search for port 80, it is famous for HTTP port, right? So if I click on this one, so let's see here, port 80. It is somewhat famous for the HTTP port, web browsing. Port 22, it is used for SSH, secure server connections. You can find a full list on the IANA website. So this website, there is no need to memorize them. Just know you should avoid using these for your own apps unless necessary. That is the main thing which I want to tell you. Fine. Now if you try to see here, when I am trying to type port 80, you will be able to see with using this port number 80, there is a one TCP and also there is one UDP. So all the time you will be having TCP and a UDP. So that means here is a cool fact which I want to tell you is, for example, if you are having two apps on the same port number, and if one of the app is using the TCP protocol and another is using the UDP protocol, means for example one app on port 8000 could use TCP and another app on the same port 8000 could use UDP. But you can't have two TCP ports or two UDP ports. So that means you are having two applications, means so one application can run on the same port with the TCP and one application can run on the same port with the UDP. But you cannot run two applications on the same TCP with the same port. So that could not be possible. And the same way, two UDP apps also you cannot start it. This will cause an error saying port already in use. This normally you will be able to see address already in use, something like that. So for example, let's say that I will try to show you the real-time scenario. Let's say that here we are having this one, the simple server.js file. So here we know about this one. So let's say that I will try to listen to the port 8000. Okay, 8000. Now if I try to run this one, let's try to see here, and if I try to run this one, what is happening here? I don't know. Okay, let's go into this one. You will be able to see this one, right? Let's go into our let me maximize this one. Yeah, so D drive, CD Node.js core and CD networking, and here I want to run node simple hyphen server. Oh sorry, not client, simple hyphen server .js. Now it is listening to the port 8000. Now this one is a loopback address. So now I can go to the browser and I can use localhost colon 8000. Oh sorry, not 800, 8000. So now this is the localhost 8000. Now it can able to listen to this one. So let's try to see. So it is going on listening actually. So if I try to refresh this page, so the server is going on listening. Or otherwise what you can do it is, so I could switch to port 8001 or use any other port also. So for example, if I switch to 8001 port, okay, now if I try to run this node server again, so this also works. Okay, so server is listening. So here if I try to refresh this page, localhost 8001, now the client is connected, the browser client is connected. Now here you will be able to see HTTP 1.1 get request localhost. So these are all the data which is just trying to send it. The socket, the response.send, it is trying to send it through the socket, and everything is getting printed here. So fine. But if I try to system port like 4, so if we try a system port, so 4 means, then what will happen? Let's try to see whether we can get an output or not. So it will be telling again, it is listening. So it might need some admin rights or something like that, but it is not recommended because it could conflict the system process like SSH on the port 22, something like that. For example, let's say that if I try to use a port outside the range like 65,536, then what will happen? 65,536. Actually the ports exist up to 65,535 only. Now if I run this one, okay, if I run this one, let's try to run this one. See here, the port should be greater than or equal to 0 and less than 65,536. So now I am getting an error because of its out of bounds. So that means what I want to say is at the final, stick to the user port range for safety. System ports like port 80 or port 22 SSH are used for critical services. For example, if you run your Node.js app on port 80, it might clash with a web server. Or if you are using port 22, means you could block the SSH access to your server. Always check if a port is in use to avoid the headaches like this. So normally port 80 is the default for HTTP. If your app runs on port 80, means there is no need to specify that port in the URL. Just type localhost or the loopback address and it works. That is why web browsers assume port 80 for HTTP unless told otherwise. So now you understood about this one. While TCP and UDP are the main transport protocols which is used in the transport layer, there are also some other also. Let's try to see it in your INA. You will be able to see at the top. So these are all TCP, UDP, DCCP and SCTP. So these are all the whatever is it, transport protocols which is used in the transport layer. So not the, but 99% of the websites or the applications use the TCP and the UDP only. Fine. So in Node.js you can specify any port in the valid range for your app. If you are building a chat app, for example, you could pick a user port like 8000. Node.js mainly supports TCP and UDP, so there is no need to worry about other protocols for now. That is the main thing. So that's it guys about these port numbers. Now you know what they are, their ranges, and how to use them safely in your apps. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more networking tutorials. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video where we build a chat app using the TCP protocol. We'll try to do it. Thank you.